How are ya? That's okay. Okay, so we are actually going to jump into chapter 5 on Wednesday and start again in the book. Today is our last day with the bridge project, and I believe you sent some things to me. I didn't have time to look through them. Tell me how far you are along in the bridge project. The final drawing, okay. And did you send that to me? Is that what you sent? Okay, so when you can, send me your final drawing and your evaluation of your alternative designs, which led to the final design. So you should turn all that paperwork in, and then you can go ahead and get started building and testing. And you've got essentially till Wednesday to build and to test and to see if you can make this bridge work. You should take videos. Well, you should take photos of of the building process and the design process as you're actually building physical bridges, and as you're fixing things. And if you change anything in the design because you need to, because it's not working for some reason, you need to include that in a new drawing. Just take your old drawing and modify it and send me a new drawing. And then go ahead and make your changes. But I kind of want a photo journal of this process at the end. In the end, you should have at least 10 to 20 photographs of things that you did with little captions under the photographs. Just a photo journal of the process of building and testing this thing. And then, of course, when you actually do a test, where you're putting it across an 18-inch span and you're hanging weights from it or whatever, you should actually take a video of that test. And what it should kind of look like is this. Let me show you what it should look like. I'm going to switch to a website here that will allow me to... Well, actually, I won't even switch to a website. I will just go to my document camera. That will work. So, let's see if I can turn this thing on. You see my document camera there yet? Okay. So, standard kind of test should look like this, where you have maybe 2 tables or something, and you'll show me that the measurements between the 2 edges of these tables is 18 inches by putting a ruler there or a tape measure or something and measuring that 18 inches, right? So that's the first thing that you would show in the video. Then the next thing that you would show in your video as you're testing is you would show me your bridge spanning that same distance, whatever it is. So your bridge has to be slightly longer than 18 inches, of course, to span 18 inches. But it should be able to span that same 18 inches, and maybe you put your ruler in there just to show me at the same time that it's 18 inches between the 2 tables. And I've actually had students make that mistake where their bridge wasn't designed to span 18 inches, their bridge was actually designed to be 18 inches. And that's one of the engineering questions that you should have asked yourself as you were designing, and if you didn't, then you need to do a redesign and make a new drawing and send that to me. But anyway, as your bridge is in there, I want to see the bridge in there, I want to see you measure the 18 inches between the table. And then the next thing you need to do is turn that measuring tape or yardstick or whatever on its end, and your bridge here, and you need to measure from the ground up to the bridge, and you need to show how high the bridge is before you put any weight on it. So I want to know this height here in inches. And then as you start putting weights on, you should be measuring how far the bridge bends down, because it will bend at least a little bit. So you've got your final measurement that you're taking that shows the bridge being loaded, and as it bends down here, you should show this final height in between here, whatever it is. And then you'll do some calculations where you'll take your initial height and you'll subtract off your final height to get your deflection, your height of your deflection. Or you could just call it the deflection if you want it. And that deflection is the amount of bending the bridge experiences. And then you should maybe do a deflection for 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. And then the idea is to keep adding weight until the bridge fails. So you should have a deflection at 1 pound, and a deflection at 2 pounds, and just keep doing that as you add weight onto it and see what happens. And that will give you an idea of what your bridge's performance is like. And then of course at the end you will do an evaluation of your bridge. That evaluation is included in the worksheet, where you're going to evaluate it according to its aesthetics, according to its it meeting the criteria, according to its actual performance as you do the tests, and so on and so forth. And then you will turn everything in, including your photo journal, including your video of your test, and the final test. You don't have to send me a video for every test that you do. If you have tests that fail and you need to improve it and then test again, only send me the final video for your final test. And then your worksheets also need to be completed, and all that stuff at the end needs to be filled in and filled out and calculated and all that stuff. And then you'll be done with this first project. Is that clear and well understood? Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that. If you can get it done, try to get it done by the end of this week for sure. And we will go on with Chapter 5 on Wednesday. And I'll take some time to answer any questions you have about the project if you're having any struggles with it. But yeah, that will happen fairly often throughout this class. You're the only student that's actually watching this class live. So everybody else is kind of watching it when they can and trying to turn things in. And so we've got things coming in at all kinds of different times and from different places. And so yeah, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. Just get it in when you can. My goal right now for me is to get homework and other things, for example, like the exam and the homework graded from the first 3 chapters. I think I've got everybody's homework and exams now. So I'm going to get all those graded and have you have a preliminary grade for you to just tell you how you're doing. My guess is that most, probably all of you in the class will be doing quite well so far. And then as soon as the project is done, to grade that first project and add that into the grades. And eventually we'll have enough information to give you a really good idea on your grade in this class so far. Because eventually the high schools will call me up and ask me for that grade because they'll want to include it in your high school grade. So hopefully you'll have a good idea before that ever happens how you're doing in the class. And as I mentioned before, this class is not about bogging students down with difficult work and things like that. This class is about getting some experience in engineering and helping students to make a decision if they're interested in engineering, moving on with this. So, any other questions or concerns you have? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go ahead and spend the rest of this time work on that project, whether it be the drawing or the cutting out of parts or whatever you need to do, and you can go ahead and do that. All right? Okay. That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna shut down here. So, all right. Have a good one. Make sure you email me any questions you have or call me up. See you later.